right. I know they're trying. But that's how you know you're strong, because you're leaning up against something that is really attacking you, trying to make your life miserable, trying not just your life, but your children's life, your grandbaby's life. America is under attack. Of course, for some of us, the last 400 or 500 years, we felt that way anyway. But the point is now the rest of us, the rest of the country, the whole concept of democracy, man, that doesn't sound like new news to us, does it? They're trying to stop you from voting. They don't want you to have access to your rights. Damn, that's an old story. Abortion. Well, you got people pretending that they don't want abortion, but then they don't give children a shot at really living. They don't step forward to make it better. But then again, that's why I'm here, to talk about the good part, the part that is available, accessible to you every day, all day, and that's you and your attitude and your decision to do something good. Do something good. That generally means you're going to do something that will be beneficial to someone other than you. Nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, that's the goal. That should be the function. That's the truth. Service. Let's try that part. Empire Talks Back is brought to you by the Improve Association and West Side Story newspaper. You can see and hear Empire Talks Back on iHeart, podcast. Just go in there and say Empire Talks Back, and you can look at archives of the fact that we've been saying the same thing for a long time, and that's that we love you, we care about you, and we do expect you to stand up and do your part. You have the ability to do those things, and actually, we have that responsibility. Today's program is going to, as usual, continue to show people who have been doing their part, asking you to do your part, and moving forward at such a speed and aggressive determination that they move forward despite our lack of supporting them sometimes. So today we're blessed to have the mayor of Rialto in, Deborah Robertson. She's going to talk to us and explain to us a little bit about why the word labor to her has several meanings. And we look forward to that. We also have a surprise guest, a blues aficionado. You know how I feel about the blues. Well, maybe you don't. You get a chance to hear later on. And then I've got the wanderlust, the lady that gets up in the middle of the night and just hops in the car and decides to go somewhere and, and goes there. Yes. Jasmine Washington. How are you this morning?
I'm well, and yourself?
Good. I'd like to hear you better. Now, let me move you closer to the mic so that the people in radio land can get to you. Miss Jasmine, you have a business that is a travel agency type of deal.
Yes.
And as we were talking about that aspect of it, because you called me to give some business to West Side Story newspaper. First of all, thank you for that part.
Absolutely.
But the other thing is that you were telling me about your business and suggested that, I don't know, did I call you crazy when I first talked to you on the phone?
You use
I know
this,
I take those kind of liberties sometimes, but you said something about getting up and just getting in the car and
just going.
And I said, well, this lady don't have no family, no friends, nobody. How could she be that loose? And then I find out you got plenty of family.
I have an entire family. I have a husband. I have children. I have jobs. I have businesses.
Tell the audience a little bit about something that you've done just to express that type of freedom and my goodness.
If I could pull one thing, I would say I was restless one night. I jumped in my car. This was about the time my husband and I had met. And I took a drive to Big Bear. I live in Rialto. Took a drive to Big Bear.
Up the hill?
Up the hill. Just straight up to Big Bear.
No lights?
Got out of my car.
Just the headlights on your car?
Just the headlights on my car and the music on the radio. And I got out. I grabbed me a handful of snow.
Oh, you went up during the snow?
Went up during the snow. Got out, grabbed a handful of snow, and I still wasn't satisfied. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to turn my car around and drive in the other direction. And at this time, my husband was, he wasn't my husband at the time. He was like, well, come get me. I don't want you out there on the road like
Okay.
that. So I picked him up and just drove. Next thing you know, we looked up, we were at the Mexico border. And we got out. There was a Denny's. There's a Denny's right there at the border. We got out. We had breakfast, jumped back in the car, headed back home. It was the most peaceful, most peaceful drive.
Amazing.
You notice things when you just go. When you just, people say, oh, I've been to Vegas thousands of times, but
Okay, so you had inherited a lot of money and didn't have to worry about your finances and stuff like that. So you just are able to just take off and do stuff like that.
I wish I'd never come back if that was the case. If I had the money, I would be gone.
Where do you find the right to have that type of attitude about yourself and doing with yourself what you want?
Well, I've always been a savvy shopper. I'm what you would call an extreme couponer. So my pennies mean a lot to me.
Okay.
So I use them very sparingly. There's things that you can do for free on a budget, on a dime. There's knowledge everywhere. You just have to make it an adventure to go to it, and you can do that for free. There's places we can go to right in San Bernardino County that are free that people have never been to and would consider it an awesome adventure.
Okay, so you answered two questions there. The first one, and I only asked you one. Okay, and I was trying to get to that the generation of that thing, that genesis of this freedom that you have to decide to do stuff. Mm-hmm. But you answered that by saying that I even coupon. You didn't say I even, but to me, it was I even coupon, which says, wow, I'm taking advantage. I see things that everybody else sees, but I see a little deeper.
Right.
And then you said that again when you talked about the places that are here locally that people could go that are totally free, that could be exciting, and you're a genius. Okay, and that's really cool. And you brought your son with you, Miles.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask him what the craziest thing he's seen his mother jazz us up and do. But I don't want to get past the fact that you are a travel agent.
Yes.
And you are able to tell places that are close, places that are far, and you make those arrangements. So travel and tour, you are able to put that together.
Yes, and it doesn't have to be, when people think of vacation or they think of a trip, they automatically think money.
Well, we got to take a trip for some money. It's because it's a commercial coming up. And we're going to take that trip for some money, and we'll be right back. We'll continue this conversation with Jasmine Washington and her son, Miles. And we're also going to get a chance, don't go anywhere. You've got Mayor Deborah Robertson coming in here. Measure A, you guys better get yourself together because she's not really affectionate toward that measure from what I understand. So we'll talk about that as we come back. This is Empire Talks Back.
Held down anymore.
This is KCAA.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
Hey, kiddo, ready to catch that movie?
Almost. Wallet, phone, keys, mask. Yep, all set.
A mask? It's not required, is it?
No, but it's gonna be busy and crowded, so I'll feel better with it on.
You right. It is opening night. Let me grab mine.
Nice! You passed the vibe check, Dad!
Wearing a mask when it can help protect you and others is just one way to keep each other safer. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at kcaaradio.com.
Greetings, folks. Greetings. Last week I shared the sad news with you that our friend and brother Reggie Beeman passed. He had a stroke, a seizure, and passed very super surprised. But he will be memorialized tomorrow in Atlanta, and your boy will be there to represent you. But once again, Reggie Beeman, a blessing to know the young man, and certainly I could understand why God wanted to bring him and sit him down at his side. So I miss him too, and you will, but you'll also remember him, because you know Reggie left us 7 girls and 2 boys. And you'll be hearing about them and from them, I'm sure, as we go forward. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. We're speaking to Ms. Jasmine Washington and her son, Kamile.
It's actually Washington Evans.
Washington Evans. We don't want to forget that there's, probably a couple more crazy people in the family who just jump up and go where they want to go and do what they want to do because God said it was okay. I was going to talk to you some more, Ms. Jasmine, about your travel agency and things of that sort, but I heard your son, as I said something to him earlier about, he said, I asked him, was there some crazy things that he'd seen you guys do and blah, 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 and you said, and he said, oh yeah, I got plenty of
I got plenty. I
so
want to hear.
I'd like to hear at least one of those things come out that your parents, your mom and dad got involved in that was a little unexpected. And
well, I don't know where to start. One of the crazy things that's like recently happened is when I woke up for school and she was nowhere to be found and she was on her way to a cruise. So I would have to say that one because.
Okay, that's pretty good. Mom, where's breakfast? Well, I'll tell you, son, I'm on.
I can tell you where my breakfast is.
Very good. Well, come on, there's something else going on in your life. Tell us about it.
Yes, so Mr. Allen, I would like for you to support my Butillion campaign.
Your
yes.
What campaign?
My Butillion, my socialites.
Now, I'm very familiar with the socialites, and I'm familiar with the Botillion, but I'm not here to give that commercial. You are. So tell me about the Botillion.
Okay, so tell me about it. I honestly don't know a lot about it. My mom just informed me about it not so long ago. But what I've...
So you kind of take advice from this crazy lady.
Yes, I do,
very
surprisingly.
Good, very good. That's a smart
It's
thing
not crazy
to do.
advice, like good advice,
good
but
advice.
In crazy ways, yes.
In crazy ways. I like that. Straighten me out.
So what I've learned is that it's a whole company that sponsors certain brand companies and stuff.
They sponsor you with what goal in mind?
They give me scholarships.
Scholarships
yes,
to
so any colleges, HBCUs, and they are very supportive with your decisions and everything that you have going on.
All right. So knowing that they have a benefit for you at the end of the rainbow is enough to kind of get you started.
Yes.
And you can find out more about them and what they do as you go along.
Yes.
Well, part of what you'll find out is that they've been doing this for over 50 years, and that they take young black men in particular, but anybody that fits the mode has the opportunity to come in, go through some various rituals of meeting the public, serving the public, and finding out more about yourself and creating a brotherhood as you do it.
Yes.
And it's been very successful. And yes, it's. What was your question? You wanted me to support you in that?
Yes. So So you can look through the book. Are you familiar with the book?
I'm not going to look through any of that.
Okay.
I'm just going to wait for you to tell me what you want me to do.
What I want you to do, I'm going to show you right here. I'm going to show the audience too. So you can purchase ads inside the Butillion book.
I got one. I'll buy one.
You got one? Oh.
Okay. All right, baby.
Just like that.
Just like that.
So I do want to go to college. I want to go for kinesiology or sports medicine or history. I love teaching history a lot.
Very good. So part of maybe what you're going to do is your service maybe to figure out how to sit down and tell a couple history stories to some young kids.
Yes.
All right, we'll follow up on that part and see how good you do and find some kids for you to sit down and do it with. All right? Yeah. I will support you as I always do to the first one who contacts me. That takes a lot of the I love you, you love me stuff because I love all of you and I really do. And so it's the first one here gets I'm not going to say the $50 million because you really believe it. That's what it's supposed to be. I tend to exaggerate. So I'm going to give you at least, I don't know, what's a page? How much is a page? Have they raised this price on the page yet?
Okay, so the business card, they
The
are.
page. How
Oh,
much
the
is
page.
the page?
Okay, so the full.
That one.
Oh, the corporate sponsor.
Ooh, listen
Corporate
to you on
sponsor
all-
is $1,000.
Ooh, yeah, let me hear about some other pages. Give me some.
The center layout is $500. The night sponsorship is $400. The last page is $250. Half page is $100.
I guess
And-
we'll go with the 250.
250.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, that's good. Man, okay, let me get him out of here. He's in my pocket doing all these great things, but that's wonderful. Miss Jasmine,
Yes.
with your business,
Yes.
say it again.
I said yes.
No, what's the name of your business?
Oh, I'm sorry. Wanderlust with Jazz.
Wanderlust with Jazz.
Yes, Wanderlust with Jazz.
Okay, now what's jazz part mean?
With me.
Oh, Jazz is your nickname.
Jazz is me. So Wanderlust, there are some people who don't know the definition, but Wanderlust just simply means to have a desire to travel or roam about. So Wanderlust with Jazz.
Okay, so if you want to go somewhere and you haven't been able to figure it all out, they could call you for some
They
suggestions.
can most definitely call
For suggestions.
909-419-9745.
Say it again.
And 909-419-9745. We can figure out whatever it is you've been thinking, you've been wanting to do. You don't want to travel alone. Hey, I might even travel with you.
Wanderlust with Jazz.
Wanderlust with
It's
Jazz.
great to have you in here. I appreciate you spending the time with us.
Oh, no, I absolutely appreciate the invitation.
It's real good. I'd like for you to stick around as we talk with Mayor Robertson.
Yes.
And we have an opportunity to maybe make some jazz and blues later on here.
Absolutely.
All right? This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. We just had a great conversation with Jasmine Washington and her son, Kamaya. Jazz. I got you now. Man, I'm a little slow, but I picked it up. You guys hang around. We're going to talk with Mayor Robertson right after this break. Hang in here.
There's been so many things that held us down.
Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at kcaaradio.com.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
COVID-19 vaccines help keep our families safer from the risks of COVID-19. Now, children 6 months and older are eligible to receive that same reassuring protection. As a parent, you might have questions or want to find out more about COVID-19 vaccines for kids. And that's okay. Talk with your doctor today or visit vaccinateall58.com to learn more so you can feel good about the facts. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
This is KCAA.
Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen here on the case for truth and justice with the right information to help improve the situation. We have Mayor Robertson, Deborah Robertson of the city of Rialto. She is she's my friend, so this is going to be interesting here. She told me something last night or yesterday that I wasn't aware of, and that's that she was born. She went into labor at a labor protest. No, she didn't. Her mom went into labor at a labor protest, and Deborah was the result of the labor and blessed with the labor protest and been a labor fanatic since then.
Good morning,
How you
Wallace.
doing? It's so good to talk to you.
I love that you and I are at a point where I forgot my Prevagen and I ran out. And you get the story kind of halfway, but it's a good story. So that's okay.
But straighten it out. Tell us up.
I want you to know I have a new saying for us.
Okay.
Given that my cousin came in from came back to the mainland, you and I are now chronologically mature. Write it down.
Chronologically mature. Okay.
So with that said,
my wife Josephine has a very funny story that goes along with being mature. When she was 14 or something like that, I think that's what she told her mother as her mother questioned her on something. Yeah. And that word has had a very different meaning ever since.
Okay. Well, no, the story, as I shared with you and I share with others, is that, yes, my mother in 1950 in San Diego, where I was born, she and my father both were in organized labor. It was Building Employees International Union then. Now it's SEIU. But they were janitors and custodians. So they were picketing a hospital on Market Street called Quintard. And my mother was in the picket line, pregnant with me, and she went into labor and had to go into the very hospital that she was picketing to give birth to me. So I always tell people, no, I really was born into labor. So it's a great way.
And a way of bringing both sides together.
Yes.
You brought both sides together.
Oh, and that's, I think, what some people say is that just matter of fact, I was unfortunately at another funeral the other day, and a good friend of mine, he says, you have ability to find the common ground and bring us together, or even agree to disagree, but we all have to go forward. So,
and we have to disagree. I mean,
discourse is good.
That is the stair step to making progress, and it also brings in another concept, and merging concepts and compromise is not taking away; it's actually building. And you've been in government,
right?
As an employee,
definitely.
And now you are mayor, making suggestions, trying to bring people together, trying to make things happen. What's happening in Rialto that you are really proud of?
What's probably happening in Rialto that I'm really proud of is that since I've been in Rialto, I came there in 1988. I've initially just went right in and got engaged, first being appointed as a commissioner. And then, actually, I think you were around when I made my first run for council in 1992.
Probably.
Didn't win, but I felt, coming from a political strategist background out of San Diego, when you have 8 people in a race and there's only 2 seats and you come in on 4th, that's not bad. That's pretty good for a person who has only been in town for 4 years.
One has to rationalize if one wants to keep going.
Oh, yes. Well, no, not rationalize. You look at data. When you look at data, regardless how it is, bad or good, it's empirical data which you can act on. We have a tendency to just think anecdotally and nothing to support it. So that's where I started from, realizing I'm not doing too bad for only being in the town for 4 years.
Okay.
Bought a home in 2 years since I arrived and really engaged. So it speaks to, for me, what I was raised up in, always being civically engaged and involved in your community, contributing or giving that discourse, but at least,
And being positive.
Yeah, and moving forward on whatever it is. From my days at City College when I had 2 children.
Because the other thing is that coming in second means that you're the first one last.
The first 2 were, one was an incumbent, and the third person was the other incumbent that didn't make it, and a new person came in. So
track and field is probably the only other place where I could say a person coming in 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th could really feel happy because they can do a personal best. And so I'm going to make it a mental adjustment to say, wow, Deborah's proud. She made a personal best in her first attempt to get elected, and it's not.
And guess what?
And she figured out how to keep
forward,
going.
And I loved Retiba was leading that. And fast forward, when there was an opening in 2000, after there was a historic moment in the city of Rialto, which is something I'm really big on, is the history of the Rialto. Someone called me who was already elected locally, Joe Sampson, and asked if I would put my name in for an appointment. And they didn't think with 2 African Americans already on council, one being Kurt Wilson just getting elected. And the historic part of first woman and a Latino, Grace Vargas being the mayor, and another woman, Winnie Hansen, was elected. Everybody was saying, there's no way they're going to pick or vote to appoint another African American. But the story goes, they did. And that's how it all started. And then I was elected in 2002 and have been continuously elected since then.
And since then, we're going to go back to my question. What is it that you are most proud of that's going on in Rialto?
Probably the innovation and technology, the projects, the way that we had found immediately I came in it with adversity. We always seem to have adversity in Rialto of situations we have no control over.
That's politics.
I think the biggest first one immediately was within a year finding out that our groundwater was contaminated with perchloric and not having
politics.
money.
Everybody around here, when they realize that their water is already jacked up with mercury, that our water is not as good as it's supposed to be.
Common ground.
And it's not, and I'm saying that not about history, folks. I'm telling you what you're going to find out, and you're not going to be happy when you find out. But our water is not at the level that it should be in terms of its purity.
Well,
okay, so I mean, and that's
let
not
me say,
that's not Rialto.
I have to
Disagree.
Here we go. I have to disagree with that because I think, truth be told, our municipal water has such higher standards. It is constantly, daily having to meet standards, and is tested more so than bottled water.
Yeah, because you had a lot of people complaining about the potential of your water.
Yes.
Coming through
and
that
what
Lido
happened
Creek
at that
thing
time,
and all.
we shut down our wells. We went to zero detection. We wouldn't serve it. But let me just say, you asked the other one. It was then after that when we had 9/11. We had the airport, General Aviation Airport. Rialto, again, had 2 in their history. But we had one. 9/11 happened and put the nail in the coffin on our airport. And so then coming together, figuring out what could we do with 953 acres of land. Fortunately, there was redevelopment. And so we started out to just build our community a little shopping center so that we wouldn't have to always drive somewhere else. And I'm proud to say, in partnership with those members along the way, my colleagues who are elected, and we may always agree to disagree. We may do that a lot. But it takes a team, always. It takes putting it out there and beating up the thought and coming up with what we want. And next thing we know, we now have a regional destination point. We did not plan that, but let me also say this.
That's what you've got.
I believe in a team. But one thing I always tell people, everything you know about a team, there's one person that you have on the team, and that's the captain.
That's right.
And I take pride in being the captain of the team.
So this thing that we are being proud of is the fact that we know that we have different attitudes, different goals, different methods for reaching there. And despite all of that, someone with a memory like mine could ride through the streets of Rialto and say, damn, where'd that come from? And I do that all the time. Yeah, and so congratulations for that part of it. And it does take a team.
Yes.
And to have a team together in a team operating despite the divisiveness that is being encouraged in America, in everything that we see and do, you've managed to pull a team together that's bouncing the ball directly and slam dunking and making some great things happen. But there's some things you're still concerned about.
Yes.
We're going to talk about them when we come back. I think one of those is you said something about Measure A.
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about that when we get back. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. I'm blessed to talk to one of the smartest people on the planet, Ms. Deborah Robertson.
Know about all that.
Well, that's your problem, but I know.
But now it seems like things
106.5 FM and KCAA 1050 AM.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call Westside Story Newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
Californians have worked really hard to beat COVID-19 by doing the things we know work best, like getting vaccinated and boosted, testing before and after travel, staying home when feeling sick, and wearing a mask when it can protect us and others. Let's continue to do our part to keep each other safer from COVID-19. When we work together, there's nothing we can't overcome. Learn more at covid19.ca.gov. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. We are here free by choice. And the fact you're listening is you are too, and I sure appreciate you've decided to operate over here with us. Us right now being me, Wallace Allen, and Mayor Deborah Robertson, City of Rialto. And we've discussed the fact that she comes from some pretty strong roots, and she's demonstrated a desire to serve and to be willing to make compromise and be a team captain and hold together some pretty odd shaped balls and make them bounce. Mm-hmm. One of those odd shaped balls at this point appears to be Measure A as far as you're concerned, and that's a school bond to raise, I think, what, you give me the
$340 million
paid back
over 30 years.
Mm-hmm. And what do they want to do with that money?
You know, before I go into that, let me say this. I want to thank you for allowing me to come back to your show. I was on it before.
Did you do something bad?
No, I didn't do anything bad. I just
I want
the community to know that. That I remember when you were in the other building, and I had the pleasure of being able to be there. So I just want to say it's always a pleasure to be able to come back and candidly talk with you.
Your distractors would say, see how she's avoiding the question.
No, I'm not avoiding it. I'm going to get right into it.
I know you're not. I just I advocate for the crazy as well as I do the...
Yeah, well,
so that I be sure to represent myself here.
I have multiple personalities. You know how hard it is to get us all together on one place. I don't even call it a compromise. I keep saying
it's a board meeting.
Finding common ground.
Yes,
we work on common ground. I don't know if it's a compromise, but no.
With me and my multiple personalities, it's a board meeting, and I'm trying to find a leader. But go ahead.
Okay, now Measure A. Measure A, I'm very concerned with at this time, partly because of one, Measure A is another school bond. And the type of school bond it is going to be another 30 years. I did read, once I received the sample ballot and information locally, that it will not take effect until 2032. Because I raised initially when meeting with the school board, with the school members, the superintendent, the president, and the person who's leading the campaign, I said, you already have 2 bonds that are out. And I'm very concerned because it only, the bonds, when you sign them, and everybody gets excited about, oh yeah, we need to put more money into education and stuff. But the people who end up paying that is only the property owners. It becomes an assessment on a person's property tax. And I have to look out for not only the young in my community, but also a lot of our seasoned members, our seniors, who may still own their home. They're on a fixed income, and they really envision putting another bond. But I did find out that the first bond, one of the first one, will sunset 2031. So this is really forward planning for starters. Now, if you read the details, it doesn't really come into effect until 2032.
Okay.
But an assessment is not the base, it's based on your assessed value of your property, not the appraised. The concern is in these times, seniors are still on fixed income. And if they cannot handle the assessment, and I've already had some seniors who've called and had problems, 2 of them, with trying to pay their tax bills. One, there's a tax collector's already notified a senior that, they may take her property for delinquent taxes. Well, the delinquent tax is just not the basis. It's also the assessments.
Right.
And so at some point you want to have to say, is this taxation without representation? Rialto School District goes beyond the city of Rialto's limits. So in other words, when they put out a bond, they're going to have people who are in San Bernardino, people in Colton, people in Fontana, and the unincorporated voting on that. But the majority of that will come from residents in Rialto.
So there are people who can vote on it who would not be taxed by it, though they would be if they lived in the city limits of Rialto.
Well, yes. They're going to be those up in San Bernardino as well. Those who own property in San Bernardino, I'll give you a classic example.
Okay, so they will
be paying as well. And the areas, like you're familiar with my city and the West End, where boundaries are San Bernardino, Meridian, over to Dallas. That's the school area. South, down in Colton. We have Colton that will be paying because we have a school in the Colton community. So I was concerned because I didn't feel that the school district had really did a notice to everyone. And they certainly hadn't even officially came and even talked to the city. They came later wanting to get me to support it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm really concerned. This is not the time, not to say now that I know it'll take effect 2032. I have no idea what the time will be by then. But we're going through hard times as it is. Another thing is the things they stated that they need it for. They need it for such things as removing lead paint out of some of the schools. They say some of our schools are 50 years old. And I said, well, really? You mean to tell me we still have lead paint in any building, that we haven't already addressed that matter? I'm very concerned with. Is that a true statement? I think you have to be very transparent. And they acknowledge
some of those other bonds earlier with something with it.
Yes, not to mention there's Prop 98, if you remember that. That was one that was passed back a while back by the state. And then there's the lottery money. So I don't need to have to go and delve into where all that money has gone, not to mention the two bonds. But the point to say is those kinds of things, I'm alarmed because here it is, 2022, and you're saying we still have lead paint in some buildings that are kids are
So are you suggesting that since it's only going to take place in 2032, that they've got time to let this one fail and explain better and bring it up again in a couple of years?
I would hope so, or they would have at least make a provision.
Well, the thing is that you're pointing out there's not that much of an emergency that they get it done right now in terms of passing the bond.
Right.
I could understand wanting to be able to see beyond 31 when the other one
And I don't
goes
think
out.
the residents, most of us tend to go, oh, wow, yes, education. But the other thing they told me was telling is enrollment is down in our school district. So if enrollment is down,
how can we afford these administrators if we don't get more money in?
Well, the money is not supposed to go to the administrators.
Oh, does it say that?
It says
In the
will
bond?
not go to the administrators, but it doesn't say anything about teachers. Okay, so I raised and I said, I'm sorry, I can't in good faith support it. And I said to even my public safety agents, units who have supported it, I go, well, how many of you live in Rialto? Of my police and fire department.
Well, I could say even if I were your opponent and said I this is important and that we need it, I could not deny that it's not an emergency, and we could afford to, if there are people who are not clear on this, who understand it, or if I'm not able to, as an advocate for passing this, to explain to you where the money's going, how it's going to really be affecting people's income 10 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
But we could pass this next year or the year after and still have the impact that we want.
Yeah, we have
so
time. But I also wanted to just add one thing. When I did read the sample ballot, the only group that was in opposition and wrote in opposition was the Libertarian group. And they, again, stated that politicians, we tend to look the other way and we just let something go. And I haven't been able to call the person who wrote the letter, but I want to let her, well, no, this is one political elected official who has looked at it. and is not signing on.
And once
because
again,
I am concerned
you
about
sign on
everybody.
or don't sign on. You are not in control of all of these people
That's
who are
right.
listening, who are voters. And that's who the audience that needs, that's
Absolutely.
the audience that needs to hear this.
Mhm.
So this idea of waiting and explaining, I think is a great idea.
Well, and-
because you can't tell me that people understand these measures. They don't get enough
And I
information.
found out, I met with another colleague, because I sit on SCAG, regional body for 6 counties, that one city, South Pasadena, I believe, actually did pass another bond, but they made an exemption for seniors. And I've said, that would have at least been a thought, because their income is not going to grow. Those coming into our community, those buying close to $900,000 homes up in the golf course, they come in knowing, eyes wide open. But when we have seniors whose income is fixed, and I think they've been noted, we're going to get an 8.25, and I'm chronologically mature as well.
Yes, ma'am. I'm looking for mine.
And my daughter and my granddaughter both went through Rialto Unified School District. So I'm not opposed to the school district. I actually think when we drill down, performance is important, and also making sure we're very, transparent about what we're doing.
There was the apples, the oranges, bananas, the peaches, and all of that in what you're saying. But to me, the issue is it a clear step that we're about to take? And if everybody's not clear about the step, why pull out into the intersection so fast? It might cause an accident. We've got time to wait. Let's wait.
Yes.
That's
That's
as simple and plain as I can.
Make it more informed.
More informed and keeping some of the juggling of all of the different fruit out of the deal, because every time I grab a piece of fruit, somebody don't like it or they do. They're going to take this short break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to get a little bluesy up in here. We've got an opportunity to bring your cousin. Is this your cousin?
Yes.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
You got labor and blues all up in the family here. Okay, so when we come back, what's your cousin's name?
See, I protested, and she was busy going through school and life, enjoying it. I was busy.
I'm sure she's going to say something else about that. What's your cousin's name?
Her name is Gloria Tyler Mallory.
Gloria Tyler Mallory. We'll get a chance to talk to GTM when we come back. GTM, we'll come on down. We'll be back. Talk to GTM, a little bluesy conversation, and see how Miss Deborah hooks into it.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
All right, we're back. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen on the case for truth and justice. Right information to help improve the situation. And it's a lot better here at 10:45 than it was at 10:05. Thank you for informing the world, letting us know that there's some things that we can do and places we can go and make happen. I plan to bring Miss Jasmine back on so she can tell us about some of these great places locally we could go, but I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but I can say that she's been invited to tell you via a story in West Side Story newspaper, and I believe that she will take advantage of that, and she'll be back on the air with us in the near future if we're not able to squeeze her in today. And Gloria,
yes,
you are the cousin.
I am the second cousin.
The second cousin, the go have fun cousin while Deborah's working hard.
But I want to make sure you know she's a little bit more chronologically mature than I am.
Oh, certainly wouldn't want to let that information not be told. Absolutely.
We both proud alumni of Lincoln High School
San Diego.
in San Diego.
That's right.
Okay. Is your pride based on participation at the school, or was there some football hero or some great thing that occurred? What was your greatest moment in Lincoln High School, Deborah? Graduate? No,
petitioning to be able to take auto mechanic as opposed to home economics. I came from a place
the world out.
of good cooks. They were the sous chefs over at Hotel Del Coronado. So I did not need another lesson in cooking. I wanted to be able to know how to take care of a car. And so I ended up petitioning, and my mother got me that. And in 10th grade, I was in auto mechanics with the guys instead of the girls.
Deborah, Gloria, did she ever
was a
fix your car?
cheerleader.
No, because my father taught me to fix mine. He said if I was going to drive it, I'd know how to fix it.
Very good for your dad. Very good. I didn't do that with my daughter, but she drove anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys were cousins. Gloria, you have an experience where you were a radio disc jockey with specializing in gospel music.
Yes, well, actually, I was attending Texas Southern University in the School of Public Administration, and I was asked to go to the radio station and do a voice check. So I ended up doing a voice check on a Thursday, and that next Sunday I started producing a half-hour talk show, which was a part of gospel programming, and it was Community Highlights, which led to State Senator John Whitmire asking me to represent the university at the Democrat National Convention in San Francisco. Governor did a press conference. I put my mic on him. It made national news, and the rest is history.
My goodness. All right, very good. Folks, you're listening to a voice that you'll be hearing more often on Empire Talks Back. She started with gospel music, and she retired and spent a lot of money, had a lot of fun. I don't know if you got with jazz and went somewhere crazy, but if you didn't and want to, you can do that.
Well, I'd like to add, while I was in Houston, I was employed with the former Texas International Airlines and became chairperson of the Airline Employees Association, which was a Chicago-based labor group.
Okay.
And so I was there in...
Deborah mumbled something. I'm not sure. But
I'm just saying we're grounded in labor. We all have been.
Very good.
We've been raised up where we focus on.
I was just trying to see if I could pull up a little more of that cousin rivalry thing.
No, there's no rivalry, not here.
No, I understand. That rivalry.
We make things happen.
Who can make the other look the best?
Oh, well, hey,
because she's been in here singing your praises ever since she got here, Gloria, and I can appreciate that.
Okay.
And I want to use you as a close influencer of Deborah to talk about your blues experience. You've moved into talking about and discovering and exploring and telling people about the blues, and I guess the connection with the blues and gospel, right?
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, I was asked last year to go on the air. I am a former Gospel Music Workshop of America Radio Announcer of the Year. And when I was called last year, I was asked about going on the air. And I said, well, yes, I'll do it. But I want to do the blues. And the guy says, the gospel lady wants to do the blues? I said, yes. He says, Gloria, what do you know about the blues? Well, when I went on the air the following Friday night, 20 minutes into my program, he sent me a message, and I'll just say it this way. He told me, girl, you are kicking.
Boutte. All right. Yeah, I don't want to get too out there because you have the mayor here. I don't want to sully her reputation hanging out with that Wallace Allen guy.
Yeah, well, her uncle.
I say I keep it real in Rialto, okay? So you say what you need to say, because I definitely will say what I need to say.
Her uncle, my grandfather, and grandmother had a juke joint in Hungerford, Texas.
Say that name again.
Hungerford. Hungerford, Texas. Amen.
Is that city still there?
Well, the town is there,
The town is still there. Hungerford. Okay.
Hungerford. And our claim to popularity is that 6 miles away, Wharton, Texas, is the home of CBS great Dan Rather.
How can people hear your blues program now?
They can go to www.kepxradio.com, and I'm a part of the Soul Express.
Very good. So we're going to look forward to you working with us a little bit and help explain the blues, because I'm not sure of all of what that amounts to.
Well, the mayor just reminded me to remind you or to tell you I am known as the Silver Fox.
Okay. All right. Okay. The mayor has a annual event.
Yes.
Run Around the Rock. I don't know if she told you about that.
I've heard it. Yes.
And I don't know what they do at the beginning and at the end of the run. And the run, I believe, is November 6th. Is that it? Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And I don't know if we've got time to add some blues to that show or not, or that program, but I would like for you, Miss Gloria, to help me squeeze our friend Deborah into doing some kind of thing on Route 66, a blues festival, a blues jazz show.
Yes.
We'll put all of that part together. But I'm just so excited that you're here with us. Who's your favorite blues artist at this time? Are you with contemporary artists, or are we looking at gotta be generically, or
as Deborah said, I am chronologically mature.
Yeah, so you're,
and I was born into the blues, so my blues goes back to folks like John Lee Hooker, Bobby Bland, B.B. King. I love Buddy Guy. I love Big Mama Thornton. Going into right now into Houston, there's Keisha Pratt and the Keisha Pratt Band. There's Trudy Lynn. I love it all.
So you feel
Coco
that
Taylor.
people need to live a while before they really qualify to exhibit the blues, or are you? Do you agree or disagree?
I sort of disagree. I think that people, everybody has the blues. One way, something will bring the blues on you, but we have to listen to it. And there's a selection, a song called "Gotta Move." You gotta move.
You're gonna bring that when you come back?
I will bring it when I come back.
Okay, very good. Let's see. We're gonna tell you guys when she'll be back. You'll be back next Sunday?
Well, next Sunday is my birthday.
Well, you'll be back next Sunday for your birthday? Is that a good bet?
I guess I'll make that commitment to you. I was thinking about flying to Hilo, Hawaii for their blues festival next weekend.
Well, now, if you work that out with Miss Jazz and decide to do that, you could call me from the blues festival. We could work it out. Well, I'm not worried about it. See, Miss Jazz jumped up. She's ready to do this.
I wanted to also say
we're out the door now. This is the quickest hour on radio, and I'm glad that you didn't get a chance to finish, so that you'll be sure to come back and make it happen. Deborah Robertson, want to thank you for showing up and showing out. And of course, Miss Washington, Jazz Washington, we certainly appreciate you. And we are going to follow through with our commitment to give Kamiles his support for the Socialite-sponsored Botillion. So with all of that, I'm proud to say, Mom, we did good today. God bless you. We look forward to next week. Amen. We'll see you under two circumstances.
On my birthday.
If the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. Guys, see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
KCAA Loma Linda. The Legacy KCAA